Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 3 of Community Talks. I'm your host, Josh Menchions. Today we are talking to Krissy Dooling.
Hello,
Hello, Krissy. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thank you for coming on to the show.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Now, I always start off with the same question for everyone. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Krissy Dooling, and I'm a physiotherapist. I'm originally from the Goulds. I grew up being pretty involved in sports, and I had a general interest in health and wellness. So I went away to university. My first degree was in kinesiology, and then I went on to do grad school and got a master's degree in physiotherapy.
Tell me a little bit about your business.
Riverside Therapeutics is my business. It's located at 26 Waterford Bridge Road. We're a physiotherapy clinic, and we also offer massage therapy. We focus on functional rehab. So basically, people come in with different issues, and we really try to not only identify like how to get rid of their symptoms, but also try to identify the root cause of their symptoms so that we can, not only make them feel better, but also make them less vulnerable to, I guess, re-injury. Yeah, we've been open about 2 years now, so we're still kind of a baby business. And we operate out of a building that's known as Compton House, and that's a historical property on Waterford Bridge Road.
So why physiotherapy? Well, why did you choose to go in that field?
That's a pretty good question. Initially, when I graduated from physiotherapy, my program, I worked in a rehabilitation hospital. So I'm really quite passionate about getting people who have lost function to any degree, really, but of getting people who have lost function or who um, aren't able to do the things that they want to do in life, trying to get them to a point where they can, again, sort of function at their highest degree possible, I guess.
You said you're from the Ghouls. Are you still living the Ghouls?
Don't hold it against me.
Do you still live in the Ghouls?
No, actually, I live in the same neighborhood where I work. I live in Waterford Valley. I still spend a lot of time in the Ghouls.
All
My
right.
parents live there, a lot of my friends live in there, but I migrated only 12 kilometers east to Waterford Valley.
What brings you to Accessible NL?
Well, me and you were acquainted before you guys started Accessible NL. So I kind of was interested in it because I saw you posting it on your social media website. But I also have a bit of a history of working with people with disabilities. So I used to work at a rehabilitation hospital, and I got involved with a nonprofit organization called the Northern Alberta Amputee Program. And um, we used to kind of plan physical, sort of physical, like sporting opportunities for people who had amputations, because we found that there were barriers that were really things that people could actually get over if they were given the opportunity to do these sorts of events in an organized manner in a safe environment. So we would bring a group of new amputees to the pool and teach them like the safest way to get from the dressing room to the water. And we would do things like we did mountain wall climbing, we did skiing, both cross country and downhill. So I've worked with people with disabilities in the past, so I'm always really interested in staying, I guess, aware about what's going on in the disability community. And I think it's really important. I think it's really important that we promote accessibility in our communities. And I definitely wanted to stay involved and in the know with what the concerns and topics were with our community.
Yeah, it's definitely something that really needs to be thought about in different accessibility. It's a real issue here.
Yeah, it's really tough here because we're such an old infrastructure. Like so many of the buildings are, they weren't built with accessibility in mind, and the infrastructure is so old, and we're kind of dealing with that at our own property. And in that doorways just aren't wide, and there's a lot of closed concept, small spaces instead of open concept spaces. So just trying to create, we're lucky that we have a large size, but just trying to create accessibility in old infrastructure that didn't really have accessibility in mind when it was built. It is a challenge for sure. What I would like to see is I'd like to see more government funding to help people with older infrastructure make their buildings more accessible. I think that would be, accessible funding, and I think that would be a good incentive for a lot of, not that I think they should need one, but I think it would be a good incentive for some businesses that are in older infrastructure to make them more accessible to a wider range of population.
Because unfortunately, it's sad that it really does come down to money. These buildings are really old.
A lot of times with heritage buildings, you have to get special permission even to do construction. So it's tricky when you want to modify, especially the outer facade of a building that's a heritage building, because there's a lot of barriers to what they want you to do. I think, fortunately, I think they are a lot more permissive when it comes to accessibility, but yeah, there's some barriers for sure.
We're trying to find creative solutions around these problems that no one else seems to be willing to think of.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of room for that in our society, Josh. And it makes me think of like just some things in our society already. Like I was at the Muse Center last week and I realized that, that building was built without accessibility in mind, but they managed to put an elevator in the front of the building to get up there's only like 6 steps or something. So, obviously anything that's built new in this city has to meet accessibility guidelines. But where there's a will, there's a way. And when there's old infrastructure, there are sometimes simple and sometimes more complicated out of the box ways to make older infrastructure more accessible.
It's not easy, that's for sure. And like even if you want to, like I've run into experience where I got a lot of tattoos, as you can see. My tattoo guy at the time had his own company, but it was on top of the road and it wasn't accessible. And obviously I came in a lot. He said, "Son, I want to make this more accessible, but I don't really know what to do." At that point, neither did I, because I haven't done this shit for an hour yet. When me and my roommate trying to help him out, uh, we had to go through a whole bunch of legal jargon that we don't understand from the government website. We needed a contractor, we needed an engineer, we needed all this stuff that we just don't know how to begin with.
It's a difficult situation when it seems that they're putting up more barriers to accessibility than solutions. But yeah, I think, in a position like yours where you're trying to, even start a small business that helps other businesses with accessibility, once you get through all that legal jargon once or twice, then it starts to be something that gets easier. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes it feels like there's just more and more walls being put in front of you to getting to your destination.
What do you have on the go?
What do I have on the go? Do you mean personally or professionally?
Whatever you want to talk about. If you got any projects, any plan for your business, anything at all.
Yeah. So we're pretty much full speed ahead with the practitioners that we have running at Riverside Therapeutics now. So we're kind of in the market we're looking at hiring on some new staff. I'm really, really interested in staff who have experience with individuals with disabilities, with individuals who are participating in Paralympic sport. So I've been in conversations with a couple of people in the community that are like interested in potentially coming on board. So we're kind of in the expansion period of time in our business. Massage therapy's full, physiotherapy's full. So we kind of have, it's a good complaint to have, but we have more business than we can handle. So we're kind of in the position where we're looking for the right people to come on board. And that's always the hard part, is finding people who are the right fit. in order to service the people who are coming through the door looking for physiotherapy, looking for strengthening programs, looking for massage therapy. We're looking at expanding into sort of kinesiology, personal training. And yeah, we have some good individuals interested. So we're just kind of trying to see who's the right fit. Personally, I've started for about a year now. I've started doing CrossFit at CrossFit 709, which is a gym in the middle of the city out of Reps, which is on Elizabeth Avenue. It's a great gym and it is completely accessible. So I actually see people working out at that gym who have mobility impairments, and it's a great place to go if you want a gym that's in the middle of the city, accessible by bus, that you can also get into, that's all on one floor. What else? So personally, I have 2 children. I have Jenna, who's 7, and just had a small birthday party for my little guy who just turned 3 over the weekend. And his name is Jasper, and last night was his first night in his big boy bed. So that's what we've been up to at home.
Oh, right on. How did that go?
Oh, well, yeah, he was awake a little bit more than usual, but he was pretty excited to be out of his crib and in his big boy bed. And so it was an exciting night.
Thank you very much, Krissy, for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you very much for having me, Josh. Anytime. And thanks for doing what you're doing. I think that the role you're taking here is an important one. And I think the more awareness we can get about accessibility in the community, the better.
I see you made it to the end of the video. Why not help us out by hitting that subscribe button and commenting down below to let us know how we did. And I'll see you in the next video.